Summer's on the horizon in Chicago very suddenly. 75 degrees and beautiful for game one of a three-game set between the White Sox and the Twins in an AL Central battle tonight. Thanks for joining us live from the set of A Bronx Tale. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone along with you, and the Sox offense has turned it on behind Avi Garcia.
It's Italian Heritage Night, and so tonight, with the Sox in first place by 4 games, we're going to center on Avi Garcia. He's been brilliant recently, 8 for his last 18 over 5 games, and last night he hit the daylights out of the ball. This one going out of the ballpark, and later he took a line drive back up the middle that almost took Hembree's face off. This did not score a run. It was hit too hard, and so Avi, now back off the disabled list, is looking pretty good, and right now this team needs some offense.
Sox pitching staff currently 4th best in the majors in terms of ERA, and a major part of that has been Matt Latos.
Matt Latos is 4-0. Last time out didn't have a particularly good day, but he got a no decision. Let's take a look at Matt. Last time he saw Minnesota, he threw the ball very well. He went 6 innings. He gave up an earned run. And the Sox went on to win that one as they swept Minnesota, and Latos was very good. Now, he got a no-D last time, but you can see Ricky Nolasco. Last time out against Detroit, he wasn't good. He gave up 5 earned runs. Against Minnesota, Matt went the 6 innings. He struck out 4, walked only 1, and he's been brilliant this year. Anytime you take a guy who's slated for your 4th or 5th starter and he gives you 4-0 out of the chute, you got to figure you're in pretty good shape, and hopefully the first place Sox can add some daylight between them and the rest of the league.
I think I speak for the rest of Chicagoland when I say that is a great look for you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Dino?
Yeah, appreciate it. Rat Pack and baseball coming your way next. First inning just around the corner from U.S. Cellular Field.
White Sox baseball on CSN Chicago is brought to you in part by Toyota. Discover more in a Toyota. Visit buyatoyota.com or your local Toyota dealer today. Let's go places. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. Through it all. Audi. Truth in engineering. And by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV.
Open the beaches. It's 75 and sunny in Chicagoland here on May the 6th as the White Sox take the field. Game 1 of a 3-game set between the Sox and the Twins. Game 4 of a 6-game homestand. And the first game in a while against the AL Central for the Sox, who are 4-1 against the division so far this year, including a 3-game sweep of these here guys from the Twin Cities. And here is Minnesota's starting lineup behind Paul Molitor, a career 300-plus hitter. Danny Santana is in center field, then Nunez and Mauer, Sano, Plouffe, and Park, who's turned it up offensively recently. Oswaldo Arcia, Kurt Suzuki, Eduardo Escobar, your starting 9. Steve Stone, you have the defense.
Let's take a look at how Robin is going to line them up behind Matt Latos, left to right, Melky Cabrera, Austin Jackson, and Adam Eaton in the outfield with Todd Frazier, Tyler Saladino getting a start at shortstop with Brett Lowry and Jose Abreu in the infield. Deanna Navarro behind the plate, and our Lexus Pursuing Perfection starting pitcher is Matt Latos at 4-0. This is 6th start, his ERA a brilliant 1.84. Last time out, didn't have his good stuff, couldn't really pinpoint the ball. He has to do that to be successful. He's got a couple of different types of curveballs. He does throw a splitter on occasion, and he's facing a ball club in the Minnesota Twins that has really been struggling. The umpires for the game tonight: Todd Tishner behind the plate. The crew chief, Bill Miller, is at first, Pat Hoberg at second, and Brian Knight is at third. So our Sox started against Paul Molitor's Minnesota Twins, and they swept them in Minneapolis. And things have not gotten substantially better for a team that they thought would be pretty good. Robin has seen his ball club go 19-10, and this Sox team is pretty good. So contrasting starts for these two ball clubs, and Minnesota is starting to move some guys in and out of the Major League roster because they're looking for answers, and so far they haven't found them.
Yeah, a couple of guys that we may see in the lineup throughout this series: Darren Mastriani, a former Twin, and Juan Centero, the catcher, up. John Ryan Murphy, who really scuffled in his first 45 at-bats this season, is down. And some changes in the pitching staff we will detail as we go throughout this 3-game series between the Twins and the White Sox.
What's really remarkable is in that Red Sox series, it was pretty close to winter time. And overnight, literally overnight, it has moved into, if not summertime, certainly late spring. And so right now we have a little delay on the mound, and we're trying to figure out just exactly why this one is not kicking off.
There's a fan behind the dugout who is receiving medical care, and so we are in a delay prior to this game. So Paul Molitor out, Robin Ventura as well to the top of the dugout stairs as the medical staff tends to this fan behind the dugout. We certainly hope for the best for the fan here at U.S. Cellular Field. Medical staff was on the scene very quickly.
And hopefully everything gets taken care of. It is right behind the dugout, and so as you can expect, Robin going out and getting an update on exactly what's going on. And from a strictly pragmatic standpoint, Matt Latos is standing out there doing nothing, and he probably should throw the baseball as they tend to that fan.
Yeah, the fan will be taken out. We certainly hope for the best for that fan and the family as well. Well, Matt Latos is going to start his warm-up tosses here at U.S. Cellular Field. Again, we're in a delay. If you just joined us, there's a fan that has been tended to behind the third base dugout that the Sox inhabit. And again, the medical staff was there very quickly here at U.S. Cellular Field to take care of that fan as we get set for game 4 of 6 on this homestand. Red Sox came in here, won the last 2, so the White Sox have lost 2 in a row. Boston on the road for New York today, and the Sox come in with a 4-game lead on 3 teams in the division: Kansas City, Detroit, and Cleveland.
That's the best part about that series. Despite 2 losses, they've maintained their lead. However, the division is bunched up behind the Sox.
Minnesota 10.5 off the pace, and we are ready for baseball tonight at U.S. Cellular Field with Matt Latos on the mound, Todd Frazier playing in, and Danny Santana taking outside ball 1.
Santana, with good speed, was on the disabled list earlier. He had a hamstring problem, and if speed is a big part of your game, anytime you have a leg problem of any sort, it's going to disrupt what you do best.
1 ball, 1 strike on Santana, who's slugging .373 for the year with that hamstring injury. He was out from April 9th to April the 26th. And again, a much changed roster for Minnesota since we last saw the Twins in April. Latos high with a breaking ball, 2-1.
Santana, a switch hitter, but he's only had 5 at bats from the right side. He's a .304 hitter from the left side. That's how we see him tonight. A natural shortstop, although he's much more comfortable in center field.
Upstairs, 3-1 from Latos, whose walks per 9 innings so far this year is at .245, which is approximately where he was during a couple of those years with the Cincinnati Reds. 3-2. Santana chased one out of the zone for a Minnesota team that currently is hitting .242. That's 18th in Major League Baseball and strikes out a bunch.
Contact has been elusive for this entire lineup.
3-2. In the air, first base side, Brett Lawrie sporting the high socks once again. Makes the catch and 1 away.
Nice comeback because he's one of their base stealers. So Santana has 5. Nunez, who was a late insertion in this lineup, Brian Dozier, who will play tomorrow, was taken out of the lineup, and so those 2 guys have 5 each. They're part of the running game, and they're hitting 1-2 in the batting order.
Dozier, very dangerous hitter, top of the card, has some good power. Likely see him tomorrow as Nunez stands in, who's on a 5-game hit streak up to .379 to open play this evening. Strike 1 on Nunez, who, like Santana, has hit right-handers much better than left-handers so far in 2016. Twins lost their first 9 games and have lost 6 of 7.
And on Italian Heritage Night, what better thing to have happened than Bobby Bertucci coming up wearing a shirt that I believe you have to water. Hi, Bob. Thank you.
Nunez clears out, and strike 2. He comes bearing significant gifts.
He does. Outstanding food. He said specifically, don't give you any. He thinks that the early going, perhaps the weight is starting, you know, big league meal money and all, starting to catch up with you a touch.
Your hearing is notably selective. Latos spears it. 2 down.
Nice start because you got the 2 base runners and they're not going to get on. So even though Matt falls off to the first base side, he's able to right the ship on that little chopper, and now you're dealing with one of the hottest of all the Twin hitters. You can usually say that each and every year, but Mauer's swinging the bat well.
Long tenured Minnesota Twin Joe Mauer, who is the leader in Major League Baseball in walks to strikeouts. It is a 2-to-1 ratio, 22 walks, 11 strikeouts.
Pretty amazing, and Mauer coming off a down year last year. He had .265, and that's very un-Mauer-like.
there a hyphen in unmauer-like?
I believe, yes. Depending on how you're spelling it.
There are alternate spellings?
I believe so. Yes.
0-2 for Mauer from Latos. 2 down. And 1-2 on Joe Mauer, the 33-year-old former catcher, now first baseman for the Minnesota Twins. It's pretty good career against the Sox. He has his most home runs against any team against the Chicago White Sox. That's why they shift. Tyler Saladino behind the bag for out number 3. They go in order at the hand of Matt Latos. Bottom 1 next, no score. Got the Sox a 1-2-3 top of the first. So the offense goes to work with Eaton, Jackson, and Abreu. Jimmy Rollins gets a day off. Frazier, Cabrera, and Laurie Milky had a great series against the Twins in that sweep. And Avi Garcia, who we told you about in the open. Gianna Navarro back behind the plate. And Tyler Saladino gets a start in the 9 spot.
Let's take a look at how Paul Molitor is going to line him up. Arcia playing. We didn't see very much of him in Minnesota. Then it's Santana and Sano in the outfield with Plouffe, Escobar, Nunez, and Mauer in the infield. Kurt Suzuki behind the plate. And our Lexus Pursuing Perfection starting pitcher is Ricky Nolasco.
Just under the wire, Steve. Well done. Strike for Adam Eaton. Goes at 294, tops on the team so far. Ball and a strike on Eaton from Nolasco.
Last time out, Nolasco had a tough time. He's on for the 6th time. He's 1-0, but his ERA a touch over 4. 28 strikeouts and 33 1/3. That's pretty good.
2-1 on the breaking ball. Former Florida Marlins started his career with the Cubs, traded to the Marlins. They were then the Florida Marlins for Juan Pierre. Second base, Eduardo Nunez. 1 down.
The ballpark should be a lot livelier tonight because it's considerably warmer, and when that happens, the ball has a tendency to fly. And one of the guys who is making it fly is Avi Garcia in the 7th spot tonight.
That home run he hit in the Red Sox series, it was a don't blink home run. 4th inning yesterday over the left field fence, and it barely had the height to clear the fence at any point.
Looked to me like it was about 15 feet high the whole way out, and finally sinking, but sinking over the wall. And at the time, ironically, we were thinking about and talking about exit velocity leaving the bat.
Ball departs quickly. 1-1 on Austin Jackson.
And later, he probably hit the ball harder when he singled back up the middle.
Ball and a strike on Jackson, who's 1 for his last 9. And takes downstairs. 2 balls and 1 strike. Part of the allure, I guess, of exit velocity is you're talking more about what results might happen rather than just the results. You know, single is the end run of a ball put in play. Exit velocity is at least an idea of what the ball might do. Once you get into the 120 mile an hour exit velocity kind of range, you hit high percentages of base hits, extra base hits.
Well, that's Giancarlo Stanton range. But also, what an exit velocity does for you is you can take a ball 5 feet to the right or left of the shortstop, it will be a base hit. If you don't have that kind of exit velocity, it's going to be 6-3. That's the biggest difference.
3-2 inside, and the walk train continues. The Sox walked last night 9 times. They have one here from the 2 spot, and our picks to click tonight go like this. Our crew has Deoner Navarro. Steve, a runaway leader by 1 with Melky Cabrera. I've taken Brett Laurie tonight. Those are your picks to click. If you disagree, please tweet at Steve Stone with the hashtag pick to click.
I'm going to ride Melky until he finally wins one for me.
You are?
Yeah. By the way, Nolasco has exceptional control. That was only his 4th walk of the year, and this is his 6th start.
Well, this is a team that has been taking quite a few pitches, nearly 4 pitches per trip to the plate, which is 8th most in Major League Baseball. Very patient team.
And a radical departure from years past. So Abreu is torched Nolasco, and hopefully that continues.
Double and a home run in his career, 375. Strike 2 on Jose.
A few guys in this lineup that have really hurt Nolasco. Now, we didn't see him in Minnesota, but when he's right, he's got awfully good curveball, and he usually is around the plate with everything.
0-2. He has a swinging strike 3 on Abreu. 2 down for Todd Frazier. There was some of the breaking stuff from Nolasco. Frazier coming up to come fly with me on Italian Heritage Night, as he is wont to do.
He loves Sinatra. He's not the Lone Ranger. I like Junior.
Frank Sinatra Jr. or Lone Ranger Jr.?
No, Frank Sinatra Jr. Outstanding.
Yeah. Big on Jackson Brown Jr. too.
If I could find him, yes.
Hard hit on the ground. Shortstop Escobar mishandles. Tries to go the short way. Nobody home. There's some exit velocity for you.
Hit that ball hard, and Escobar was having a tough time defensively this year, and this is normally a very dependable fielder, but that's error number 5. And if he had thought about it, and he felt he didn't have time, but if he goes to first base, he's going to get the out there. But he thought the force out was in order. It wasn't, as Austin was hustling, and it keeps the inning alive.
So 2 on, 2 out for Melky Cabrera. This after a series with the Red Sox in which there were no errors committed by either team.
And surprisingly, in that series, the Red Sox, who lead the American League in stolen bases, didn't steal a base. That was surprising. Now they won 2 of 3, so it didn't hurt them very much, but I was thinking they were going to go, and John Farrell decided to hold them where they were.
2-0 on Melky Cabrera, who thrashed the Twins in that series at Target Field. 6 out of 13 and a double.
Melky's hitting from his best side, which is the left side. He's hitting .307 as opposed to .222 as a right-hand hitter.
That's ball 3, so 3-0 on Melky Cabrera.
I would like to see Robin give him the 3-0 green light. Melky's swinging it well. You have a righty-righty matchup with Laurie in the on-deck circle, and there's no reflection on how he's swinging it because he's swinging it well too.
Called strike.
That was borderline. Todd Tishner gives it to Ricky Nolasco.
Three and one for Melky Cabrera. Frazier at first, Jackson at second, first inning. Ball hit well left center field and carrying into the gap off the wall on one hop. Jackson coasts home. Frazier coming to score. It's a two-run double for Melky Cabrera. The applause signs on and the Sox lead 2-0.
When you've always struggled against a given hitter, it's seemingly you're making pitches from behind consistently. And Nolasco had to make a 3-1 pitch, and Melky drives it to the gap. Two-run score. He's got 10 this year, and an early lead behind Matt Latos.
Well, after last night, and talking to Todd Steverson, the Sox hitting coach, he said, look, we've gotten guys on. We're just pressing some in big spots. We're overdoing it. And after leaving 11 runners on yesterday, a great sign that two came home with 2 outs here in the home first in game 1 of this series. As Laurie takes outside, a very choosy hitter now, Brett Laurie, who's top 20 in Major League Baseball and walks this year with 17.
I would say that name and that phrase have never been linked in his entire career.
He's a different guy.
He certainly is.
Maybe it's the fangs.
It really shows you how well he's seeing the ball, because he is swinging at pitches sometimes up, but very rarely in or out.
Ball to strike on Laurie from Nolasco. 1-2 for Laurie.
Our Menards pitch tracks will show you a very tight breaking curveball low and away. Perfect spot. And you can't pick up the spin, so you go after it thinking it's a fastball, and it disappears.
1-2. Pitch number 23 is high, and a check swing, no go. 2-2 for Laurie. To put a number to your discussion about his ability to not swing at bad pitches, by far this year, his swing percentage at balls outside the zone, less than 25%, significantly better than any other time in his career. There's strike 3. But Sox get 2 runs. Melky Cabrera, 2-run double after 1. The lead for the home team. Sox Insider all season long on CSNChicago.com, presented by The Great Escape. Pools, patio furniture, hot tubs, and more. Escape your everyday shop. The Great Escape. I haven't checked the Dan Hayes game notes recently, but I think this is a season-high streak of 2 days in a row having Dan Hayes in the booth right now.
Yeah. Career best by far.
Career high for sure. move again for the Sox forthcoming in terms of pitching staff, right?
Yeah, last night Eric Johnson was sent down to the minors after the start. Miguel Gonzalez will start again on Monday. Robin Ventura announced that before the game today. Sox wasting no time and kind of moving on. I don't think it means it's the last time for Eric Johnson. I just think this is where we're at right now. They're going to be kind of to be determined. Miguel Gonzalez threw April 25th at Toronto, gave them 5 innings that day, and I think they're going to come back and see what they can get from him. They liked how he finished that start.
Well, to be fair to Eric Johnson, before he made that start, they said that the 5th starting spot would be kind of a revolving door until somebody really took over. And so far, nobody's been able to do it. But the man, vastly more experience than anybody else, is Miguel Gonzalez.
Absolutely. They signed him on April 4th or April 3rd. 30-21 from 2012 to 2014 with a 3.45 ERA. But he struggled last year, but he's got that velocity back. You've seen it in the strikeout numbers. He struck out 7 the other night at Charlotte, and I think they want to see what he can do. They like kind of that mettle that he brings.
We like the mettle that you bring, Dan Hayes. We really do.
It's the first time somebody's told me that. I really appreciate it.
We also like that shirt that we have, and as opposed to Jason's red.
Well, I got mine in Pamplona.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice idea.
I went a long way to get this shirt.
That's
so.
really, you really wanted it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Dan Hayes, always a pleasure to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming. Dan Hayes, our CSN Chicago insider. You can follow him at CSN Hayes, and Miguel Sano will follow his course back into the batter's box after strike 2. It's 3-2 on Sano. Dan Hayes has some strong info last 2 days. 2 days in a row for Dan Hayes.
Got to be careful with Sano because he's got huge power.
Big dude. Miguel Sano.
I don't think he wants to throw him the same spot he did. He was probably trying to get that fastball in on his hands, and Sano made the conversion from a third baseman to a right fielder. One of the things the Sox won't do too often is run on the arm of Sano. It's one of the best arms in baseball.
Whether at third base, in the outfield, wherever he is. Got inside on him, popped foul. Sano with 18 home runs last year. That was 5th most among rookies, and that is quite the look.
That's a good look. That'd be a good look for you.
You think so?
Yeah, I do believe that.
I think Photoshop experts are going to be on that, but I think they're going to see what you look like with that on your face. 3-2 for Sano.
He's coming back from Tommy John surgery, which is rare for a third baseman, but it hasn't affected his throwing arm at all.
Three-two. Ball's clobbered down the left field side and into the corner, foul. We will do it again.
There's a break. He got around a little too quickly. It's going to be a 9-pitch at bat at the very least, and Sano clubbed that ball. Despite the fact he's only had 3 home runs this year, he's still a very young hitter. He's awfully dangerous, and he's found a home in right field. I don't think they're going to move him to third base anytime soon, although when Plouffe had his back issues, Sano played 6 games at third base and did a decent job.
3-2, got it by him. Strike 3 for Latos. 4 in a row retired for him to open the game.
He got this fastball up. And we talk about home run hitters with uppercut swings. You've got to stay above his hands, and that's exactly what he did. The uppercut swing yields no contact, and he was down on strikes.
Doesn't he look a little bit like Big Papi? I know he's a right-hand hitter, but in terms of frame and in terms of the swing.
If you can believe it, and I'm not sure too many people can, he weighs much more than Big Papi. He's checking in at 280, and Minnesota would like him to get down to 260, 265 if he could. They feel he have more mobility there. But that is a huge young man.
Undrafted free agent out of San Pedro de Macorís in the Dominican. 0-2 to Plouffe, who's 0 for 8 since coming off the disabled list the other day.
Talking to Paul Molitor about intercostal muscle, he said that he had it on both sides. And he said it's preferable as a right-hand hitter to have it on the right side. He said you can deal with it if it's on the right side. When it's on the left side, for whatever reason, that lead arm pulling the bat through, he says it's much more difficult, both seemingly in the field and at bat, and Plouffe is really struggling with it so far. He says, by his own estimation, maybe 85% at third base. He hasn't had a good run and hasn't had his usual mobility to either side. I think a lot of it has to do with that injury.
1-2 outside. Where do you think we'll see that most in this series, defensively or at the plate?
I think we'll see it defensively more than at the plate. He can swing the bat. Plouffe has always been the kind of hitter that he goes along, hits a few home runs, and all of a sudden in 2 weeks he'll hit 8 home runs. He's been that kind of hitter his whole career. We are hoping that that waits until they leave town.
Twins will be here for 3, then the Sox off to Texas for the Rangers. Bouncy ball to third, Frazier. Solid lead to first, 2 down. White Sox fans, vote now for your favorite moments and milestones from the first 25 years of U.S. Cellular Field. Head-to-head matchups run through May 19th, and the defining moment will be revealed during homecoming weekend, presented by the Village of Bedford Park, May 20th through the 22nd. Visit whitesox.com/USCF25 to vote today.
Here's a man who's hitting them pretty well.
Yes. Young Ho Park, who was strikeout happy last time the Sox saw the Twins, is now on a 5-game hit streak.
Well, he's still going to strike out, but if you make a mistake, he's going to hit it a long way. And interestingly, Paul Molitor said he doesn't have big power in batting practice. He has much more power in the game, which obviously is a good trait to have. And if you get it out over the plate, he can hit it out right, center, or left, doesn't matter. But all of his home runs so far have been solo home runs, would lead you to believe he's getting a lot of fastballs to hit ahead in the count.
On the ground and scooting through for a base hit.
Like that fastball when he was ahead in the count. Fortunately, he hit it on the ground because he hit that ball awfully hard. 2-0 count. The fastball is on the outer third, probably knee high, and he scalds it.
He's played in Korea for years, played for the under-18 national team, and now over here to the States with the Twins. As here is Oswaldo Arcia, who's hitting .273. Ball 1.
This guy has as much power, probably more power than anybody on his ball club. He hit one here last year that might still be going. I mean, this is one strong, young left-hand hitter.
Inside 2-0, just 24 years old, and it seems like perpetually recently the Twins have had cycled through young players. I mean, it was Buxton, now he's in AAA. Arcia is 24, Sano is 22, Santana at the top of the card is 25. A different team than we saw from the Red Sox with such veterans in the middle. Ball kicks away, and Park departs for second base.
It's going to be a wild pitch as Matt has had some problems with his control. And Bob Rosenberg gives us his signature call of wild pitch. It's right off the right foot of Todd Tishner.
That's why they have the guards on.
And thankfully so in that situation.
3-0 from Latos. Park at second. Deanna Navarro has become the Latos whisperer. He's been the catcher for all of Matt's starts. They got to know each other in Cincinnati, and he's done a very nice job with him, hasn't he?
His ERA thrown to Navarro is under 2, dating back to 2012.
Go to second. Park is back in, and it's ball 4 on Arcia. So 2 on, 2 out for Suzuki.
It was a decent idea, but I do believe if you do that, you're going to have a hard time getting a strike call. You see, Deanna was getting up as the ball came, and Matt Latos yelling into Todd Tishner, ball or strike. That ball just barely off the corner, but if the umpire is obscured at all, he's going to put that guy on first base.
Seen that a couple of times this year. When in Baltimore, Matt Wieters did the same thing.
Same thing.
2 on 2 out for Kurt Suzuki, the veteran catcher, who takes outside. Ball 1. Matt Latos has been fantastic this year at stranding runners, about 94% strand rate.
Well, to this point, he's making the big pitches when he has to, but he's making a lot of pitches behind in the count. Normally, that turns into earned runs.
What is a high pitch count in an inning due to a pitcher late in that inning?
In the inning, nothing. But what happens is if you use up pitches early in the game, you're going to go a lot shorter than you normally go. So a pitcher who's strong enough to go 7 or 8, it's only going to go 6 if he piles up a lot of early pitches.
Which leads to a trickle-down effect.
And then you get into the bullpen. So behind in the count, Latos has already thrown 14 pitches behind in the count. He's fortunate to this point to have that goose egg up on the board.
He retired the first 5, then a single for Park and a walk for Arcia. 2-1 to right field. Adam Eaton has to watch it bounce. Park's around third. It's a 2-1 ball game on the 2-out single for Kurt Suzuki.
Suzuki came in hitting under 200, but there's something about White Sox pitching that always brings out the best in Kurt Suzuki. He gets a fastball at 2-1. It's up just off the corner, but he takes it down the line. So Don Cooper coming out from the dugout, he's going to suggest to Matt Latos that he not play around on the corners early in the count because he's falling behind everybody. And the Twins have cut the lead in half.
Don Cooper, Tyler Saladino, Jose Abreu, Todd Frazier, cast of thousands at the mound. Mentioned Minnesota comes in at 8-20. There's some fear facing a team that's like that, though, especially with the way the hitting has turned up recently for Minnesota. It was the hitting that struggled early. Now it's pitching.
Yeah, I think everybody thought that this team would hit. It was just a matter of time. They thought that the pitching would have some problems, and it did.
It's a ball to Eduardo Escobar.
Pretty good pitch. It did not get the call.
Looked like it had a good chunk of the plate.
It did that.
According to Menard's pitch tracks. Up and out, 2-0. You mentioned Suzuki against the Sox. 306 career. And you look, and it's one of his top 6 batting averages against any team in Major League Baseball. (3-0) for Escobar. Santana on deck.
Talked to Eduardo about his batting style from both sides. He says he's a natural right-hand hitter, and this year he's hitting .333. But he feels that he's a much better left-hand hitter, despite the fact that he's only hitting .213 from the left side.
It's pitch number 31 of the inning. It's a strike. Still on pace to clear the 357 from last night in the series finale, so you don't have to cancel your dinner plans for after the game. 3-1, ripped up the middle. Saladino behind the bag. He got him. Saladino saves the lead. (6-3) and a beauty and a 2-1 score.
One to look forward to Miller time later in the game, brought to you by Miller Lite. And we'll take a look at Eduardo Escobar out of the box because seemingly he wasn't running at full go. You see him right there. There's something bothering him because normally he gets down the line and beats that one out, but he doesn't beat it out. And a run is saved. Escobar stays in the game, but not before a conference with the trainer, and then he went back out to his position.
So the score remains, thanks to that play from Saladino, 2-1.
Spectacular play. That's a highlight reel play. Just a big effort.
Strike one to Avi Garcia.
Time now for our Xfinity high-speed action replay, and it is Avi Garcia. Line drive, home run. Doesn't get more than 15 feet off the ground, and he continues by bashing this one into left field.
That was a dart. Second hit for the Sox. Avi's got some spring in his step around first.
He was really coming out of his season-long funk in Toronto. I mean, he was pulling his hands in like he did there. He was hitting everything on the sweet spot. Unfortunately, he nicked up his hamstring. Fortunately, it wasn't a pull. So he spent 4 or 5 days not playing, observing, and he's come back and hasn't missed a step.
Heard Dan Hayes mention earlier, Scott Carroll has come up today in the bullpen, so more moves for the Sox, who are a generally healthy bunch. Some injuries have popped up, especially in the catcher position, so Deoner Navarro's playing essentially 6 out of 7 days at this point, with Alex Avila eligible at the beginning of next week to come off the DL.
Navarro's another one of Sox hitters that have really hurt in Alaska.
7 hits, couple of doubles, a homer, 4 knocked in. (3-0). This is the very opposite situation of the one we saw last night. The Sox had an opportunity with the bases loaded. Brett Laurie thrown out at home on a nice play by Mookie Betts. Boston comes back and immediately gets a run. Swells the lead to 2. Here, top of the inning, Twins get a couple on, trying to put together a rally to tie the game. Now 3-0 from Nolasco and Garcia at first.
Look, it's early in the ball game. We're talking about bottom of the second, but if this lead holds up, if the Sox can add to the lead, you think back to that play up the middle by Saladino, and you'll look at something that can turn around a whole inning.
A strike, 3-1 on Navarro, who went hitless in that series against Minnesota back at Target Field. What a night for baseball.
It's 83 degrees at the ballpark right now.
Welcome to summer. Well placed, 3-2 for Navarro.
Well, Navarro has hit very well against Nolasco. Now they're going into a shift. And we'll see if Robin wants to run with Avi, trying to stay out of the double play if there is contact.
He does go. 3-2 is grounded to the right side.
Heads up call. I mean, Robin had him in motion. That had a good chance of being a double play, but wasn't. See Avi getting a good start, leaving Nunez with only 1 play, so you have a man in scoring position, a guy with pretty good wheels, and the Sox stay out of the twin killing.
Well, to be totally on the nose, any out in this series provided by the visitors is a twin killing.
Yikes. Oh, sorry, that was thinking out loud.
You just get hit a little hard. Saladino into right field. They were playing him back, and he drops it in. Garcia had to hold first and third with 1 down.
I talked to Tyler before the game about what it's like to sit on the bench, sometimes 8, 9 games, whatever it is, and then come out and try to hit the baseball. So you see Avi, he doesn't want to run into a double play, so he hesitates. gets into third base. And Saladino told me that he tries to observe the game. He wants to see what various pitchers are doing to various hitters, how they approach it. And he said by observing the game from the bench, he feels that he's more a part of the game, so that when he does get a chance to play, he doesn't feel as strange as he would if he were doing other things, which is a good philosophy if you're going to be a swingman.
26 years old in that 9 spot, so he flips the card to Eaton, who takes a ball. Nolasco, you said it, usually a control-oriented pitcher, has struggled at points tonight already with his command.
Because he's not overpowering, he can't get behind all that often, and he's got to make sure he's in a position where he can use the wipeout curveball to effect. If he's behind hitters, it becomes a non-factor.
Ball floated on him. 2-0 on Eaton with Austin Jackson next.
Twins signed Nolasco to a very big free agent contract, and with a serious injury as well as just a down year, he's in the 3rd year of that 4-year contract, and he wants to prove something to the Twins. So he started off pretty well this year, but struggling here tonight.
Played with the Marlins from 06 to 13 through elbow injuries, couple of DL stints. Then to the Dodgers, now the Twins. 2-0 for Eaton. A look at first on Saladino. You put him in motion here from first?
I wouldn't right now until Nolasco convinces Robin that he can get the ball over the plate.
On the ground and through for Eaton with an RBI base hit. Saladino to third, Eaton into second. Saladino comes around to score. Eaton out at second base. 2 runs home as the Twins had trouble in the outfield.
Well, as soon as Joe McEwing saw that this ball was coming into second base, he didn't hesitate. So Adam takes the ball through the left side. Saladino is running, and Joe is giving him the go-ahead. You see him right here. He picks up McEwing, and he says, keep on going. The play's at second base. No play at the plate. And Adam Eaton trying to elude the tag. Can't do it, but a big base hit.
So 2 in, 2 out. Nobody on for Austin Jackson. And a big hug for Adam.
I would think he'd got 2 runs batted in.
Official word right now is 1 RBI.
I think you got to give him 2.
That has just changed. Bob Rosenberg has changed the call.
Well, the coin flip went to the 2. But that's run batted in 7 and 8 for one of the hottest, not only hitters, but hottest players around baseball.
He's one of the best defensive players in Major League Baseball right now, Adam Eaton. He's got 12 multi-hit games in the team's first 29 games. One-two for Jackson. Trevor Plouffe at third. Guns down Jackson, but another big hit for the Sox. And a warm embrace. 4-1.
Rocket Arms. ERA leaders, Jordan Zimmerman leading the pack, and Jose Quintana in the 2 spot with Sale, Wright, Walker, and Latos. So 3 of the top 6 wearing White Sox uniforms. A great start for the pitching staff, and we've got a special surprise for you. We've added to the prize shelf.
Well, we certainly have, as Santana takes a ball. I mean, it's just about Mother's Day, so it's a perfect opportunity to win a gift for your mother.
Right.
Yeah.
And we have, well, look, we have a watchdog now so that nobody steals anything from the prize shelf. We also have added yet another of the autographed Altoids. We told you before you can't have the gnome, but we have not exactly a Rubik's Cube, a Sox Cube.
Right, yeah, it's a Rubik's Cube.
Yeah, there it is.
And there's their watchful eye of the gnome.
And that's
Morty the gnome.
That's why we can't possibly get rid of him, because he also, along with our watchdog.
Yeah. Well, it's important. I mean, you can see the value of the shelf. We have to have 2 centuries for the prize shelf, and Sox Math coming up in the 4th inning. You can win one of those prizes, including that lovely Rubik's Cube that is hours of fun.
Isn't the disclaimer that you can win one of the prizes, but we will decide what you get?
Yeah, you can suggest.
You can suggest.
Yeah. Ball 4 on Santana. So leadoff walk for Latos to the top of the card for the Twins. You can ask for whichever prize you want. We'll just send you 2 tins of Altoids signed by you went out in the mail today with the queen of the prize shelf, Val.
I also want you to know something, that I have found a way to actually miniaturize the Altoids. So I have not only the regular size, but I have the very small Altoids.
What are you, Rick Moranis now?
Yeah.
Honey, I Shrunk the Altoids. 1 on, nobody out for Eduardo Nunez, who bounced back to Latos in the 1st inning. Takes high, Santana's off. Throw is in time. Down he goes.
Credit not only a good throw, but a very quick tag on the part of Brett Lawrie. Trying for his 6th stolen base, and as soon as Lawrie gets it, he just comes straight down, and sometimes that quick tag gets the out. Yanner Navarro guns him down, and a good way to start the 3rd inning.
Even got a little fist bump for himself as Santana's chopped down for the 4th time this season trying to steal. One and 0 on Nunez. And foul 1-1. The White Sox still with the best record in the American League, even 2 losses in a row deep. 19-10. They had the best record in April in the AL, and since '95, 18 of the 22 teams who own the best record in the American League after April made the postseason. It's a high percentage.
It is that, and very encouraging. And talking with Robin before the game, he was talking about partially that Boston series, but he was also looking ahead. And he was talking about the offense. He said he would certainly love to see it pick it up somewhat, and it has picked up here in the early going in this one.
Right field, Adam Eaton on the run. He's there again. He's eaten him alive in right field this year.
Our little bearded Roberto Clemente once again snatches one out of the air, takes away a 2 or possibly 3 base hit, and Adam Eaton getting a standing ovation from the fans. I don't think that Nunez expected Eaton to catch that ball. What a play.
And that's a smart baseball fandom here in the ballpark tonight. I mean, his defense, there's a story today about Adam Eaton's defense being equivalent to Mike Trout's offense for the Angels. That's how good he's been defensively this year.
Well, he's literally on a streak where every break he gets to the ball. Last year at times that didn't happen, playing a different position this year, but he's been magnificent at right field.
2 strikes on Joe Mauer. That was on Fangraphs, the story. They showed all of his 12 defensive runs saved, and he's done it in so many different ways, throwing runners out, tracking down baseballs.
2 outstanding defensive plays in the early going in this one behind Matt Latos. Now it's time for the greater coverage of baseball, brought to you by T-Mobile. And it's the highest percentage of pitches taken. Brett Gardner, #1, just barely ahead of Joe Mauer, who's taken over 2/3 of the pitches he's seen. J.J. Hardy on the disabled list with a broken foot. Pretty amazing.
You've seen him for a long time, Joe Mauer.
I have.
What do you think overall?
My evaluation would be he's a plus offensive catcher, but he is a just barely average first baseman because of the offense. Most first basemen, you look, they're going to drive in 100 runs. Joe is not going to do that. That's why he's much better suited for me on a ball club. If you have the thumpers in the middle, he's much better suited as a #2 hitter. Because he's not going to drive in a lot of runs. He is going to get on base. And if you have 3 and 4 behind him who can drive in runs.
Checked his swing. He went around. Down goes Mauer. In right field, Adam Eaton has been superlative this year. All Nunez can say is touche. As we welcome back White Sox greats on homecoming weekend, Friday, May 20th to Sunday, May 22nd, when the White Sox battle the Royals. Homecoming weekend presented by the Village of Bedford Park. Bring your business home to Bedford Park and win big. To purchase tickets, visit whitesox.com. Some greats, we told you, coming here to Chicago for homecoming weekend, including Tim Raines, including Roberto Hernandez, among others, Jack McDowell as well, Lance Johnson.
Going to be a special weekend. Make sure you're here. We've got some defensive changes.
Abreu with an offensive swing on 1-0. He leaves the ball yard 5-1.
Told you that Jose has done a good job of hitting the Lasco. His 5th home run, he's driven in 20, and that was a no-doubter. A forward home run replay. Lasco throws a breaking ball that spins in the middle of the plate, and Jose takes it way back. So as the weather has heated up just today and spring has arrived, so have the White Sox bats.
And with that home run, there will be another generous donation from the Alex Snellius family in loving memory of Ursula. "5-1 Sox in the home third, and Frazier nearly gets popped with that pitch.
And the heroes of the game, the White Sox, between innings, celebrate someone from our armed forces. And tonight it was Walter Guzzi will turn 100 in less than a month.
How about that? We thank him for his service. Frazier reaches out and pops it foul to stay alive. Eduardo Escobar is the one that is out of the game as Frazier swings and misses. Strike three, one out.
So Rosario checks in the game in center field, a position that he has played before. And Nunez shifts from second to short. Santana goes to second.
So Rosario into the game for Escobar in that 9 spot. And strike one for Melky Cabrera. Up and in. 1-1.
There's a couple of pitches inside. And with the way Sox are hitting the ball, there might be some intent, although he didn't try to hit anybody. He did intend to push both Frazier and Melky off the plate. Now Melky has had a phenomenal run lifetime against Nolasco, so he was just letting him know that he knows the numbers.
Poke foul. Well, this is a nice response for an offense, again, that left some runners on last night. 11 lost 2 in a row to the Red Sox, scoring 5 runs total after a 4-1 win in the opener. And the big guns pitching the next 2 days, Sale and Quintana.
There's no doubt in my mind that they have the hitters in this lineup to produce a whole lot of runs. They just haven't done it so far. The weather conditions haven't been great, but they haven't been great for both sides. But with Eaton doing what he's doing, Abreu just starting to heat it up, Avi back in the lineup and hitting everything in sight.
Melky couldn't check his swing, so back-to-back punch-outs for Nolasco. And 2 out. We told you about that homecoming weekend.
We did.
Against the Kansas City Royals coming up. Here are the luminaries. A Cy Young Award winner, 808 steals, 326 saves, top 20 career in baseball history, and 1 dog.
Lance Johnson might have swung the biggest bat of his era. For a guy who wasn't a particularly big guy, he loved to swing a very heavy and very big bat. And for a guy who did have over 200 hits in a season, he was pretty good.
There's a hook for a strike to Laurie. We mentioned how far back Big Papi went. Lance Johnson was in the lineup for the Cubs the day David Ortiz made his major league debut.
I remember that trade that brought him over from the Mets, along with Mark Clark.
Strike 3 called, and 1-2-3 after the home run. Mark Clark was the starting pitcher that day, by the way, when Ortiz made his debut. 5-1 over Papi's former team. Tonight's edition of Sox Math. Tweet in your answer. Hashtag Sox Math. First winner gets a prize off the prize shelf. Number of wins the Sox have against Minnesota this year. Number of letters in the name of the White Sox mascot multiplied. Then divide the number of teams Rick Renneria played for in the majors, Sox bench coach, and the total when added together of the digits of U.S. Cellular Field zip code. You add those to the total number, and you have the answer for Sox Math tonight. It's a toughie this evening.
I know this one, though. Put me in, coach.
You do?
I happen to know this one. Yes.
What's the answer?
Oh, I can't tell you.
You can't?
No.
Not to be divulged?
No. We have to keep it in abeyance.
Here's Miguel Sano, who was kept in abeyance in the second inning with a strikeout. Hashtag Sox Math. First correct answer wins a prize. 2-1 on Sano. In a 5-1 lead for the White Sox. Boy, it's been a good time at the ballpark tonight, hasn't it?
It has been. And that was a very good pitch. That was blown away from Sano. Couldn't get to it. Almost without exception, these Twins have tried to pull just about everything. You try to pull that one there, you're not going to do much with it.
Latos takes something off, strike 3, third punch out for Matt Latos.
He followed up a good fastball on the outside corner with an off-speed pitch on the outside corner. Looked like it might have been a splitter. He was in a perfect spot, and Sano, no contact for the second time.
Well, you don't need to have a white lab coat to know that changing speeds like that might get you a strikeout.
You don't indeed, mon frere.
One out for Trevor Plouffe. And he takes high. A ball and no strikes. Great crowd tonight. Ready for fireworks here at U.S. Cellular Field.
It's going to be a well-attended weekend series. There still are some seats available tomorrow and Sunday for the two final games. That's a terrific bunt. Latos says, I got it.
And
gets the first.
He does.
What a job.
He was on this the whole way.
Well, Matt looked at Frazier and said, I'll handle this. Good bunt by Plouffe. Ordinarily, maybe a little bit more to the third base line. It's a base hit.
Instead, 2 down. And Byung-Ho Park, who scored the lone Twins run tonight, comes to the plate. On that game tomorrow, by the way, the parking lots and ballpark gates open early tomorrow night, as a programming note for you.
Also a 6 o'clock start.
Yeah. Lots open at 3:10, gates at 4:10 for the 6:10 first pitch, which shows Irvin Santana against Chris Sale.
Tremendous matchup. Santana just coming back off the DL, and Chris Sale just coming back off being magnificent.
He is routinely in that state. Saladino laid out and couldn't get there. Park is 2 for 2.
When I talked to Paul Molitor about Park, I asked him, what do you think his ceiling is? And he said, look, he's 29 years old. He's going to be a solid major league hitter. He said he got off to a slow start. Now he's starting to understand what guys are trying to do with him. He said, you have to realize this guy is facing pitchers for the first time. When that happens, the pitchers usually have the advantage. With Park, if you make a mistake, he can hit it a long way. Hit 105 home runs in 2 years in Korea. That's a whopping total. Doesn't matter where you hit it.
He set the record for homers with 52, then broke his record with 53. So 1-0 on Arcia. And one more quick note on that game tomorrow. First 20,000 fans get a Chris Sale K-counter bobblehead. In the air to left field and deep, and this ball is leaving. Oswaldo Arcia with a 2-out, 2-run homer, and suddenly the lead is shaved in half at 5-3.
We told you the power of Arcia. That's his 4th home run. He's driven in 11. And our 4th home run replay, opposite field, and a bomb. So it is a whole lot warmer at the ballpark, and you're seeing it the way the ball is flying out. And like the second inning with 2 outs, nobody on, this inning, 2 outs, nobody on, and Minnesota scored all their 3 runs in those situations.
Now ball 1 for Suzuki. Well, Eric Johnson went 5 last night. Rodon 6 the day before that. And 8 from Quintana to open this homestand. Bullpen's in pretty good shape, wouldn't you say, right now?
Well, you know you've got Chris Sale going tomorrow, and when that happens, usually he's going to go deep into the ball game, so you can probably go a little bit deeper than you normally would tonight. As you're looking at a guy that has got his chance to play now, he didn't have it at the beginning of the year, but he's got so much power that he's still going to get chances for these Twins.
Two and one for Suzuki, who drove in a run in the second inning.
You mentioned all the roster moves of the Twins. Terry Ryan is here in Chicago. These aren't going to be the last roster moves coming up. There's going to be a few more over the weekend.
Up the middle, center field, tying runs coming up with Eddie Rosario. This part of the order, 6, 7, and 8, has been on base all 6 times, 5 for 5.
You get the feeling that Suzuki could come out of a coma and hit White Sox pitching, because each and every time up, doesn't matter what his batting average is, and he came in at 196, but he's hit the daylights out of the ball twice.
You could put Randy Johnson in his prime in a White Sox jersey, and
he would have a good time with it.
1 on, 2 out. Rosario, who looked like he was going to get the day off, he's in for Escobar, who went out defensively last inning.
He looked very uncomfortable going down the line, and it's a strained left groin that took him out of the ball game, and we'll see how that works out.
Wrapped to second. Laurie jump throw, his only chance, and he is safe. Rosario, 4th straight hit for the Twins.
Rosario came in struggling. He was the opening day left fielder, hitting just 188 coming in, but he takes this one right back up the middle. And you know, when the shortstop is in front of you and there's nobody at the bag, the only play you have is first base. Because the closest to the bag was the umpire, Pat Hoberg, and he's not going to catch it.
If he does, another rule will be in play. 2 on, 2 out. Danny Santana, who walked last time up, he was thrown out trying to steal second. 5-3 Sox in the 4th. Santana swings through. Strike 1.
Scott Carroll, the newest addition to the bullpen, throwing in the aforementioned pen.
3 outings so far with AAA Charlotte this year. Carroll up today. Eric Johnson back down after the start yesterday. Eric said after the game, he said, look, I know it wasn't result-wise what you're necessarily looking for, but I feel like I can contribute to the team. Dan Hayes mentioned it earlier, our CSN insider, that Johnson may be back later on as the White Sox continue to work through that fluid 5th starter spot. Now 1-1 on Santana.
Look, he was facing the league's best hitting team in Boston, and it wasn't a great start to the game, but you have to like how he finished. Faced 3 hitters in the 4th, 3 hitters in the 5th, and then he was done. Not bad.
In the air, back and foul. 1-2 for Santana. Just 2 walks this year for Danny Santana. One of them last time up. 11 strikeouts. A free swinger. He's now playing second base. Suzuki at second, Rosario at first. 1-2. Spoiled it foul.
Take a look at the pitches from behind, and that's a high total. 32. 26 fastballs, 4 sliders, 2 splitters. 32 pitches from behind. And we're not through the 4th inning.
Swing and a miss. Ball bounces away. Navarro quickly to first. And he got him. Dicey play. Navarro makes it happen. 2 stranded for the Twins, who get 2.
Team pride with White Sox checking and an official White Sox MasterCard debit card, only available at your local Wintrust Community Bank. Go to wintrust.com/Sox to learn more. Wintrust Community Bank, member FDIC.
Well, some offense tonight, Mr. Stone. 5-3 your score after 3.5 this evening at U.S. Cellular Field. Thanks for joining us wherever you may be. Our entire crew. Joe Grube is here. His cats are healthy. It's good news. Javi Garcia takes outside low. Families are here. Friends are here.
A young Sox fan. It's wonderful to see the youngsters at the ballpark because they become lifelong Sox fans.
On the ground, Plouffe is there and has Garcia for round number 1. When was your first memory of being at a baseball game?
As so often happens, and now youngsters are coming with their mothers. I went to a game with my father, and I remember it was Cleveland Stadium, 86,000 seat capacity. They were drawing so few fans that the mascot could thank each and every one individually. But I remember walking up to the upper deck because that's where my father could afford to get seats, and I remember looking out over a sea of green, and my initial feeling was I had never seen so much green grass in one spot in my entire life. So the view from the upper deck, first of all, I thought I was going to fall out of the upper deck, but also it was a spectacular view. So 8 bags of peanuts and 3 hot dogs later, I had severe nausea, but I loved the experience.
It was what, run you about $5 back then?
I think it was a special. I think you got an upper deck seat and all you could eat for 25 cents.
2 strikes on Navarro from Nolasco. 5-3 your score. 1 out in the 4th. And a breaking ball. Strike 3. 2 down. We saw just a minute ago where you're telling your story that there was it looked like mother and son keeping score together in the stands. There's nothing better than that. Learning baseball through keeping score.
And keeping score will get you to understand the game. And everybody has a different way to do it. Both of us, ironically, use different color pens to signify different things.
Eagle highlighter, which I don't know what's going on over there. There's a strike for Saladino. They were just keeping score a little while ago.
Well, look, the mom has her glove. She wants to make sure that while her son is keeping score, she's able to defend him in case something comes whistling back there.
It's great.
That's a very good look.
Ball and a strike on Saladino. 5 in a row retired for Nolasco since the homer by Abreu. Well hit in the air right field. Sano is back there for out number 3. 1-2-3 inning for the first time tonight for Ricky Nolasco. To the 5th we go. Through this season, the White Sox will feature a flash sale in which 200 tickets in select lower level seating categories for an upcoming game will be available for just $10. Each sale runs for 24 hours or whenever all the tickets are gone. We have flash cake up in the booth right now. Roger Bossard and his cake delivery.
That was really kind of him. Since Roger has become world famous, he very rarely will bring actually cake to me. But he did this time.
That's a beautiful looking piece of cake.
It's a wonderful piece of cake of which you will get none and like it.
Thank you for sharing.
Well, it's the least I could do. He only brought one fork.
Well, didn't clean it off. Nunez, Mauer, and Sano here in the 5th inning. And by the way, Roger, not only does he provide dessert for you, as there's a fly ball left center. Melky has to play it off the wall. Nunez into second safely.
This is going to be a tough inning for Matt Latos because he's got the heart of the order, and right now his stuff is a little short. Location not particularly good. It's right down the middle, and Nunez with the daylights out of one, only to be robbed by Adam Eaton in the 3rd inning. This time hits it high off the wall. Melky makes it a lot closer than it should have been at second base, but he's in ahead of the ball and the tag.
I was getting ready to say the field looks beautiful as always.
It's
Roger
the best.
does a fantastic job. So now Mauer, who's 0 for 2 with a ground out and a strikeout. And strike 1 here.
This is where Joe Mauer has to do something that he's not used to doing, and that's pull the ball. Now there is a huge gap on the left side. That's where he gets a lot of base hits. But with the shift on him, with Saladino playing behind Nunez and responsible to keep him close at second, now we're still looking to move him to 3rd.
Strike two, we showed you earlier, Joe Mauer takes about 68% of the pitches he sees, and he's done that here. He's 0-2.
Sox bullpen up and going once again.
Oh, 2. In the air from Mauer. Melky Cabrera on the move to the corner. He's there. Nunez headlong to third with one out.
And he's shaken up. It looks like his left arm, and he might have jammed it on the bag, but that's a good piece of base running, because when the ball left the bat, he looked like he was off to the races. Realizing that Melky had a great shot at hauling this one in, he went back to second base, tagged up, and he got to third. So Mauer went down in protection mode, sliced it down the line. It's in fair territory, and Nunez going back to the bag. Heads up base running, and he did jam his left wrist, it looked like.
Ball one to Sano. That was the beached whale into third. Straight over the bag.
Wasn't a great slide, but it was effective.
One 1-0 on Sano, who struck out twice. And here a drive right center field. Eaton in position for out number 2. Nunez tags and scores. It's 5-4 in the 5th.
Before Sano, that's run batted in number 12. And this has become an uncomfortable one-run lead.
It was a 5-1 game, now 5-4.
And it's Zach Putnam loosening in the pen. It was Scott Carroll last inning, and Putnam this inning.
Saw Putnam last night for a 1-2-3 ninth. Latos to Plouffe for ball number 1.
Pitch number 92 on the way. One of those situations where if you can get Latos through 5, that probably will be it.
2-0.
Plouffe has got some big power, so here's where you'd like to stay away and down to him.
On the outside corner, 2-1.
Good pitch, 2-0. Had some movement on it and caught the corner.
Up and in, 3-1 to the former shortstop, turned third baseman for the Twins, Trevor Plouffe.
And in the on-deck circle, Park is 2 for 2, and he scored 2 runs.
(3-1), fly to right. Adam Eaton camped for out number 3. The Twins have chiseled closer. It's 5-4 for Latos after 4.5. Well, it is pregame. It's just pregame for tomorrow's game, postgame here. So you got it.
Thank you, Art Chuck. And we appreciated you guys doing your postgame show from the booth live last night.
Wasn't that nice?
Yeah, the look of sheer terror on your face as you were trying to get set up as we ran out of the booth was something to behold.
Again, high exit velocity from Steve Stone. Eaton is fair down the line. Adam Eaton plugs it into the corner and is off to the races, peeling away from second, on the way to third. Eaton, a stand-up triple to lead off the fifth.
Adam Eaton with his second hit. His first hit, a single that drove in 2 in the second inning. He just drills this one down the line, and the ball gets caught up and doesn't scoot into the corner. And Adam, when he sees that the ball is stuck and doesn't bound out, he decides to test the arm of Sano. What that does is force the whole infield to come in all 4 positions.
Leaving some big openings for Austin Jackson to drive in a run.
And on runs right now essential because this Minnesota Twin team that was not all that good offensively is hitting the baseball tonight.
With the infield in, pitch number 1 to Jackson. Eaton at third is a strike, and we'd like to welcome all of our viewers watching on Independence Telecommunications Utility in Independence, Iowa. Can we get an RBI for Iowa? 0-2 for Jackson.
Not on that particular pitch, but maybe on the one forthcoming. Austin elevated into the 2 spot tonight with Tyler Saladino occupying number 9 in the batting order.
Jimmy Rollins out tonight. Jackson walked and scored in the first. Tried to fish for that outside corner and couldn't wrap it around. 1-2.
That's really the fashionable pitch in the last maybe 10 years, that backdoor fastball. It's a 2-seamer that starts outside and tries to catch the outside corner to the right-hand hitter from a right-hand pitcher.
1-2. Outside. What do you think the next fashionable pitch is? Where do you think baseball's heading?
Well, I think most of the guys want to stay away from the splitter because I believe that the splitter is what is deteriorating elbows.
Really?
Also, you lose velocity. So I think that probably is going to be on the wane. The straight change is getting more and more popular.
2-2. On the ground, first base side. Mauer has nobody at first. He looked around and he was exiled.
Ricky Nolasco was a spectator. And when you make mental mistakes, it's going to cost you. Nolasco knows that he just had a brain cramp. He could have had the out. There was no way in the world Adam Eaton was going to score. Nice play by Mauer. And we'll take another look. He's looking right at Eaton, and then when he looks to first, nobody is there. The runners at the corners, nobody out. And a big mistake by Ricky Nolasco.
Scored a single. Abreu takes outside. Runner at third, 1 out. Instead, first and third, nobody out in a 1-run game.
Big difference that Jose, with the daylights out of 1 leading off the 3rd inning, is looking for something up at the very least. He's got to drive in a run by hitting the ball in the air and a quick throw to first, and heads up base running by Austin Jackson.
Abreu 1 for 2 with a strikeout in the first and a home run to lead off the 3rd for the last Sox run. And here he cues it foul. Speaking of that home run,
It's a rolling breaking ball, and it rolled its way on out of here. That a no-doubter, and for Ricky Nolasco, the 5th home run he's given up. And for Jose Abreu, the 5th home run he's hit.
Unfortunate symmetry for Nolasco. Jackson at first, Eaton at third. Minnesota is on the comeback trail with 1 in the 2nd, 2 in the 4th, and 1 in the top of this inning. Sox are threatening. Ball and a strike on Abreu, who's got an RBI now in 6 out of 7. Back foul, 1 and 2.
With the Powerball at $500 million, are you going to be playing?
I don't know. You're gonna chip in?
I want you to know that I am going to play. I have every intention on winning it, and if I do, I'm going to be right back here.
How about that?
Working with you.
What
of course,
a guy.
We're going to own our own team.
There will be cake in the press box every inning. 1 and 2 for Abreu. Upstairs.
Did a nice job of staying alive. That pitch was out of the strike zone, and there you can see it's a paltry $415 million, but I do believe it's going to rise up substantially as we get closer to the drawing tomorrow night. And we've been told by inside sources, we can't reveal, that if nobody wins it, it'll be 5 1/4 next time. But again, I plan on winning it, so there will not be a next time.
Roughly equivalent to all the prizes on the prize shelf.
290 million to 1 are the odds.
1-2. Check swing. Ball low. And Abreu held up. 2 and 2.
Good job of checking his swing, because he started and unfortunately did not continue with that swing. Again, talking, and we talked about it last night, you have to have very, very strong hands and wrists to start out that far and then make sure you don't go around.
Well, he certainly has those.
He's a big man.
2 and 2. Eaton at third. Jackson at first. Inside low. 3 and 2 on Abreu, with Frazier coming next. Again, this Sox team sees the 8th most pitches in Major League Baseball, nearly 4 every trip to the plate. Abreu has watched 6 already.
You'd have to think the man covering at second would be Santana, if indeed Jackson is going to go.
He does. 3 and 2, grounded to third. Only play is to first, and they stay out of the double play.
Robin's been very aggressive tonight, and that was a pretty good play, because that would have been a double play.
Let's get our Sox math answered to you. A couple of winners tonight. Number of wins Sox have against Minnesota is 3. 8 letters in Southpaw. Rick Renteria, 3 Major League teams, and the total is 19 of the digits of U.S. Cellular Field zip code. 27 is the answer. Patrick Nolan has won again. We're going to give a prize to Riles 23. SSSP Knowles. Patrick, you are in the Sox Math Tournament of Champions, to be held at a much later date. Congratulations on your win once again today. And Riles 23, thank you for playing as well. And everybody, a lot of correct answers again tonight for Sox Math. You had it too.
I had it early, because I thought tonight was one of the easier ones relatively. I had it especially when I heard you mention the answer before the game. That's when it first came to me.
It's a good way to get the answer. Yeah. So Frazier, who reached out an error and scored in the first inning. He must have been really good at exams in college.
Oh yeah, really good.
Second and third, 1 out. Nolasco to Frazier. On the ground, shortstop. Eaton's coming, throws waiting. Jackson to third. Nunez played it well.
With the infield in, from a pitching standpoint, you're thinking about a ground ball. And it's a good thing Adam didn't slide, because the slide would have taken him right over the bat. and he wouldn't have come out very well. So you can't avoid Suzuki, leaving runners at the corners. And Nolasco doing a good job of getting 2 outs without a run scoring. Now he's got to wend his way by a guy that has really hurt him, including a couple of RBIs on a double in the first.
That is Melky Cabrera, who on a 3-1 pitch had that 2-run double.
Sox bullpen up and going once again.
It's been Latos for 5 so far tonight.
A mistake that opens it up, and then Melky drives the ball in the gap, and with that first White Sox run, E-Click Lending has donated $100 to the Pat Tillman Foundation, supporting military veterans and their families.
So 2-0 on Melky Cabrera. Left-hander up. Laurie, who has struck out twice, next. You pitch around him here?
I personally would, knowing the history of Melky against Nolasco. Let's see what Ricky decides to do.
Down and near the zone, 2-1.
With that good curveball low and in, basically what he was telling Melky is, I'm not going to walk you intentionally. I will let you get yourself out, because that was a terrific 2-0 pitch.
Think you'll see another fastball? Probably not here, right?
Fastball away, he's going to see.
2-1. Down, 3-1.
He missed his spot. And I would think he would see another one of those breaking balls. It was an outside fastball that Melky drilled into left center field the first time up. Suzuki looking over in the dugout to see what to call, I guess, and he's going to call the breaking ball.
Melky floats it to left and has an RBI single. Beautiful hitting by Melky Cabrera, who's driven in 3 tonight.
And Melky applauding for himself, as he should. This is a bad pitch on 3-1. The idea is good, but the curveball hangs in the middle of the plate, and Melky on the inside out swing now is 2 for 3. He's driven in 11. And that one gives the Sox a 2-run lead, and the inning continues.
He's now a .440 career hitter against Ricky Nolasco.
Sometimes you just have to admit that that guy is better than you and try to get the next guy out.
And Laurie's been swinging the bat very well, but tonight Nolasco has handled him beautifully. 2 strikeouts, 0 for 2. Instead, they decide to pitch to Melky Cabrera, and 2 on, 2 out. Sox will take it, that's for sure. Laurie rips it to left field. Here comes Frazier to the dish.
Nobody up in the bullpen for Minnesota, and it's somewhat surprising because that was another rolling breaking ball, and Brett Lawrie drives in his 11th run of the year after 2 strikeouts. He gets that breaking ball hanging on the inside part and rifles it by Plouffe at third base. That ball was on him so fast he couldn't get the glove up in time, and the ball was in the outfield. So runners at first and second, a 3-run lead.
With the Twins starting to chip away at Matt Latos' advantage. A couple of huge runs, Mr. Stone.
A big inning, and that's what the Sox have done this year. When they have had the lead more times than not, they put some add-on runs into the equation.
Garcia, ball 1.
Usually they come a little bit later than this, but in this case, better sooner than later. And Michael Tonkin, tall right-hander, getting loosened up, and he's getting loosened up in a hurry. I think Paul Molitor has been very patient with Ricky Nolasco in this one.
Up and away, 2-0 for Avi Garcia. This is the third revolution through the order. 25 batters and 4 2/3 for Nolasco.
Been a struggling night.
He's not been close.
No, last time out he gave up 5 earnings and just didn't throw the ball well. And his pitching line so far, 9 hits and 4 2/3, the 7 runs, 5 of them earned. He has 6 strikeouts and only 1 walk. But he's missed with a lot of pitches, and that's really hurt him. So you can be wild in the strike zone just as well as you can be wild out of it, and sometimes it's more devastating to be wild in the strike zone.
3-0, a flickering green light. No, ball 4, bases loaded. Did you say 5 earnings, by the way?
5 earnings.
Earnings.
You remember him?
Yeah. That hurt your ERA real bad. Old Ernie.
Neil Allen coming out. And that's in an effort to let Tonkin get loose.
Hey, join the Chicago White Sox for Weather Day, your favorite. Weather Day.
Tom Skilling's the best.
Presented by WGN-TV, May 25th at U.S. Cellular Field. Prior to the game against the Indians, WGN-TV meteorologist Tom Skilling hosts a special on-field program focused on weather, which will include weather experiments and a video presentation. For more information, to purchase tickets, visit whitesox.com/WGN.
You know how excited you get when I pay for lunch and or dinner, depending on what the day happens to be?
Yep.
That's how excited Tom gets talking about the weather. You have the same expressions on your face.
Shock?
No. Exuberance.
That ball is smashed by Navarro, foul. 0-1.
Deanna has not had a good night tonight against Nolasco, but historically he's been very good against him.
Still looking for that first hit of the year against the Minnesota Twins, Navarro. Bases loaded, 0-1. Mauer stabs it and retires the side. But the Sox grab 2 runs. Cabrera an RBI single. Laurie an RBI single. Latos has a 3-run lead. during your visit to U.S. Cellular Field using MLB.com Ballpark, the official U.S. Cellular Field app for your iPhone and Android smartphone. Perfectly complements your trip with Ballpark maps, concessions guides, check-in prices, and more. Download MLB.com Ballpark today or visit WhiteSox.com/ballpark app. New pitcher, Steve.
Matt Latos will only go 5, and he'll turn it over to Zach Putnam, who's on for the 11th time. He's 1-0. His ERA a touch below 4. 11 1/3, 11 strikeouts, giving up 9 hits, and he inherits a 3-run lead with the bottom of the order, which has been red hot. And yes, we're talking about you, sir.
It's your call to the bullpen tonight. Putnam to Park inside. Ball 1. Zach Putnam, a season ticket holder to Michigan football, born and raised in Ann Arbor, Michigan. A Jim Harbaugh guy. 1-1.
Being a Buckeye, that's not good news.
Well, you're Buckeye State.
Well, yes, but very big Ohio State fan.
Kent State Michigan rivalry.
That's a very good rivalry.
Yeah, they do. They play them tough.
They sure do.
1-2 for Park.
If they allowed the Kenters to play with 15 players, they might play them tough.
Downstairs. 2 balls and 2 strikes. You're a big Ohio State fan, really?
Yes, always have
I
been.
didn't know that.
Wanted to go there originally.
Oh, so that's why you were hard selling us all on Ezekiel Elliott.
Exactly
before
right.
the draft.
Little did I know that he'd go in the top 5.
Scooped in the air for Park. Jackson is back at the wall. Austin Jackson soaring for out number 1.
This has literally been a defensive clinic, and Zach Putnam giving him a round of applause, as are the fans. They've seen some phenomenal glove work from Adam Eaton, seemingly every night from him. Austin Jackson goes up high and takes it away, and a terrific play at shortstop early by Tyler Saladino. The defense has been spectacular as these Twins continue to bash the baseball.
The impenetrable outfield strikes again. Jackson this time. 1 out for Arcia. I didn't see last year. I didn't see every game last year like you saw last year. I watched from afar. How much better is this outfield than last year's outfield?
Well, on a relative scale, it is 200% better, because last year was very difficult all the way around, and this year has been the other side of the spectrum. The move of Adam Eaton to right field has opened up a whole new world for him, and the addition of Austin Jackson has made everything click. Melky is playing a better than average left field, and Melky can really throw. He's very accurate. Austin Jackson, pretty much if it stays in the ballpark, he's going to run it down.
As he did right there. 3-0. Ball forward to Oswaldo Arcia. A 1-out walk.
Now we have to find a way to retire Babe Suzuki. He's like Ryan Rayburn against the Sox.
Kurt Suzuki's 2 for 2. He came in a .306 hitter against the Sox. Entered the game at 196. He's up to 224, gaining 28 points. By the way, big news from Cincinnati tonight, Steve. Big news. The ball.
They're abandoning their chili as a city.
No, Skyline's still in business. Gold Star as well.
Okay.
The Cincinnati bullpen failed to give up a run today.
So the
streak is over.
The reign of terror is over out of the Cincinnati pen.
It is a bright day in the Queen City of Ohio. First time in 24 games the bullpen did not give up a run.
Pretty amazing.
It is a long, dark road for now the 12 and 17 Reds, who are out of last place in the Central. Suzuki a bunt. Navarro's there.
Oh, happy day.
It took a foul bunt.
What a wonderful choice. Suzuki, who had been hitting the ball all over, drops ahead of the bat as he tries to drag it. And the runner puts it away. When I talked to Paul Molitor about that very play, he said that he got very good and worked very hard on bunting to third base. He felt that there was more margin for error if you did that. That's exactly what Suzuki was trying to do, only he popped it up. And Molitor went to the Hall of Fame.
A pretty good hitter.
He was a great hitter.
Over 300 for his career.
And no, I don't want to see sticks and stone Paul Molitor.
Wasn't good?
No, I don't
he
think
hit
so.
everybody.
Well, true.
For the most part.
Yeah.
We gave you Butch Hobson last night.
Thank you.
I mean,
It was very kind of you.
it's a donation to the Stone Fund. 2 strikes on Rosario, who came in as a defensive replacement.
I know you don't know this guy, but I don't want to see Glenn Adams either, for one simple reason.
Why is that?
14 years of professional baseball, I give up 2 grand slams. 1 to Glenn Adams.
The other one wasn't Kuiper,
I
was
still
it?
hate him. No, the other was Gary Maddox. Very nice fellow, but I don't like him either.
2 strikes pulled on the ground by Rosario. We do have tonight's edition of Sticks and Stone. There are a couple options here where we quiz you on, you know, if you get it right, we should give you something off the prize shelf. We really should. The Connor McKnight sunflower seed something as Zach Duke tunes up in the Sox bullpen.
I think I'll take back my watchdog.
No, it's got to defend the prize shelf.
Yeah, that's true.
With Ballard. High fastball. Down goes Rosario. Putnam gets out of the 6th. 7-4 your score. From doing the things you love to do, schedule an appointment at any of our 340 facilities by visiting athletico.com/appointments. And what Steve Stone loves to do is introduce new pitchers.
Ricky Nolasco's night is done. He went 5, gave up 7 runs, 5 earned, and Michael Tonkin comes into the game for the 13th time. He's been a busy man. He's been a very effective man. He's 1-1. His ERA 1.26. 16 strikeouts in 14 and a third. He's allowed a couple of home runs. And he's 6'7", 220 pounds, out of Glendale, California. Got a scholarship to Southern Cal, but turned it down to sign with the Twins.
So he comes in, Tonkin does, with a 7-4 disadvantage. The Sox lead by 3. Trying to even their record on this homestand as Saladino eyes ball 1.
Good idea, Tyler Saladino, because Trevor Plouffe has been playing him back all night. And Plouffe just coming off that intercostal injury. Not quite 100%. He still is back at third.
Injuries really starting to mount in Major League Baseball. Bad news for the Angels. Garrett Richards having Tommy John surgery.
Yeah, that's for them. It's really bad because Heaney is out, Wilson is out, and now Richards out for
Foul
quite
ball.
some time, and that one just whistled foul. He has Tommy John surgery now. He's probably going to get back the latter part of next season.
And in one of those instances where you're just basically trying to run him out there to get some work. So next full season, what, 2018?
Yeah, and for the Angels, I mean, it's a terrible blow. He's their #1 guy.
Right field and foul again from Saladino. Chris Bassett as well from the A's, our old friend, on the shelf.
Tommy John surgery's piling up. And it's Fedora night. You had to buy a special ticket, which allowed you a number of things, including that beautiful fedora sponsored by Beggar's Pizza.
Yeah.
It's a handsome look that I would still be sporting, but for the headset. Looks very bad with the headset.
Really laying it on thick with that fedora stuff.
They do that, you know.
Oh, they do.
Yeah. And no, you can't have a franchise.
Right field. Sano out #1. Everybody had their chance to win a franchise. We were in Toronto. Tim Hortons is on the prize shelf. 1 down, sticks and stone tonight. Roy Smalley.
Well, being a guy that swung the bat from both sides, I had some trouble because he refused to hit right-handed against me. So I think Roy did pretty well. Left-hand hitter, and I usually had trouble with all of them.
All left-hand hitters.
Just about every one.
Tagged by Eaton to center. And Rosario's there for round #2.
Roy Smalley was a pretty good player.
Because all the curveballs you struggle with lefties, is that right? Is that what it is?
That and the fact that I couldn't throw the ball away very well to them because I couldn't sink it. And as you can see, .417 batting average. I did hold them to no triples or no home runs. So that part was good.
I only walked him 5 times.
Yeah, .417 is a bit robust. But it was a small sampling, as they say.
Yes, the small sample size. Rescuing careers for decades. Ball 1 to Austin Jackson. You have a Cy Young Award to show for.
Yeah, but that was a year when it was a dead ball era.
Just the 1 year it was a dead ball era?
It was
usually maybe I have a misconception of what an era is.
Well, you remember the Happy Haitian theory about why the ball would be livelier some years than others, and that year, dead ball.
1 and 2 on Austin Jackson, who has scored twice tonight.
Had to do when they were stitching the ball by hand in those days.
When they stopped doing that?
1910.
Outside and low. 2 and 2. When did you get your first leather helmet?
There is a young Abreu fan and family bringing him out. Youngster behind him with a glove, ready to go.
Sano's got a glove. And the Twins are ready to go to the dugout. 1-2-3 inning for Michael Tonkin. 7th inning coming next. Sox by 3.
Jose Quintana looks for his 4th straight win as he takes the mound for the series and the homestand finale. It's Sox-Twins. Coverage starts at 12:30 with White Sox pregame live, sponsored by the Koalas family of dealerships on CSN Chicago. We get a new pitcher coming to the ball game. It is Zach Duke. Nice inning by Putnam. Zach Duke on for the 7th, on for the 17th time. So he's been the busiest man on the ball club. ERA 2.45. And Santana will switch over to the right side. There you look at the numbers. 16 hits, 11 runs combined.
And a big error early on for the Twins, which allowed 2 runs to score in the first inning for the Sox.
We talked about one of the biggest plays at the time, and it could have turned around the ball game. It was the play that Tyler Saladino made up the middle.
Speaking of up the middle, Duke to Abreu, 1 away.
That one came in the 2nd inning off the bat of Escobar at the time. And Tyler ranged up the middle behind the bag, a 1-hop throw to first, and a run would have scored had he not made that play. It also took Escobar out of the game, and at the time preserved a 2-1 lead.
This is a Twins team that might be in that mode of when is the next thing going to happen. They're 8-20 coming into this series. Last year, their 20th loss happened in their 50th game. Minnesota was 30-20 through 50 last season.
And I talked with Paul Molitor about his first year of managing, which was last year. They finished 2nd in the division. As you look at Canely and Jones throwing in the bullpen. So with expectations high this year, coming off a 2nd place finish last year, I asked Paul how he went about his job on a daily basis, because this team has not lived up yet to what they were supposed to do.
There's a strike.
What he said was, we prepare each and every day to win. The players believe they're going to do that. So far it hasn't worked out particularly well, and because of that there have been many changes, and he said there's going to be a few more to be made before we leave town.
Popped up on the bunt.
Now, we've seen a couple of bunts by Minnesota, and they have not been successful. Before the game today, the Sox went out there and they had, I believe, 7 guys bunting, and bunting extensively. They do it at least once a homestand, and with all of their guys bunting and either dragging the ball or pushing the ball club is getting used to laying one down when they have to.
Down goes Nunez, 2 out here in the 7th inning.
And that's one thing you really like to see, because bunting has become a lost art in this game. So pretty good pitch by Duke, out of the strike zone. Nunez, who's hit the ball very hard tonight, goes down on strikes.
2 out for Duke. Mauer 0 for 3, facing a left-hander for the first time. On the ground, Brett Laurie. 1-2-3 inning for Zach Duke, pushing us to stretch time on a beautiful night in Chicagoland. Well, the Sox have the best ERA in the American League coming into tonight. The offense has provided the thunder this evening. 7-4 your score. Thank you for making us a part of your Friday night. He's Steve Stone. I'm Jason Benetti. Our entire crew is here. Our wonderful crew that we bring to U.S. Cellular Field, which is well attended tonight.
And we want to send along best wishes and get well quickly to Dave Cella, a big part of our crew.
Abreu the fly ball to center for out number 1.
Dave a little under the weather, and we certainly hope that he is back and that he's starting to do a little bit better.
Yeah, he was one of the first people on the crew that I met that opening day. Walked back to the truck, and Dave introduced himself, and I've been drinking out of a fire hose, learning everybody's name. I mean, it's hundreds of names, and you're only supposed to remember plus or minus 2 of 7 in any list. So it's been a strain trying to use the old ticker.
You do
like
a good
that.
job
Well,
of it, Bill.
Yeah, thanks, Frank. And Dave said, "I'm Cella." So he said it again. I just want to make sure I had it. And he came up to me later in the day and he said, "Hey, Jason." I said, "Hey." And he said, "What's my name?"
Buddy,
Yeah.
pal.
He said, "What's my name?" And Cella. But it stuck for me. You know, you have one of those encounters, a chance encounter. You don't say it again. Don't remember the name. He made sure to take the moment, say hello, introduce himself, and he's been very kind, and certainly hope the best for Cella.
I don't know if you realize this, but he is an Air Force veteran.
I didn't know
and
that.
Of course, I always ask him who he fought for.
You are heartfelt doesn't begin to describe it.
I don't know how it fits in my shirt. My heart is so big.
That's what the vest is for.
Anyway, Dave-O, get better soon and come on back.
Frazier's going to need a new bat next time, and he is out on the ground ball to Mauer, 2 away. Enjoy U.S. Cellular Field just like a player. Play catch in the outfield, warm up in the bullpens, visit the dugouts, and much more. Join us for Family Field Days Saturday, May 14th, and support Chicago White Sox charities. To purchase tickets, visit WhiteSoxCharities.org. If you really wanted to experience it like an opposing player, you should fire Chris Sale sliders at you.
That's not a real good thing because you're going to make no contact whatsoever.
You may get hit with it too while you're striking out in
And
the
there are
Mark
some seats.
Trumbo virtual reality game.
There are some seats for tomorrow.
A smash foul, first base side, a 6:10 start.
And for
tomorrow night.
Sunday.
Is your seat available? Or is it taken?
Not yet, but
okay.
I'm looking ahead to June. You never know. Italian Heritage Night and the fedoras in abundance.
Groove to Melky, who's 3 for 4.
Boy, I'm not sure who he's picking to click, but that was an inspired pick to click for Melky. There's a few fedoras.
I bet they're not as self-congratulatory when they pick the right click.
Oh, I had no idea. My retention span isn't that long.
What was that?
Hmm?
Here's Laurie, whose single last time up gave him a 15-game hit streak against the Twins. That ball is crushed to left. Melky to second.
Both of his hits were absolutely scalded.
Canadian Dracula takes a bite out of another.
Well, it's a first ball fastball, and he hit it right on the button. This one going over the head of Plouffe, and the last one going by the glove before he had a chance to get the glove up in position.
So, 2 on, 2 out. And Tonkin twisting in the wind.
He's going to depart as Paul has made the motion to the bullpen. Fernando Abad coming into game, so as Tonkin walks out and Abad steps in, we'll depart. Be back after these messages.
28 titles and 1 World Series championship to his name, and was just elected to the Basketball Hall of Fame. Get to know Bulls and White Sox owner Jerry Reinsdorf on an all-new Inside Look presented by Cadillac, premiering Thursday at 7 on CSN. Time now for the Midas Tire and Auto Service Experts call to the pen, and it is left-hander Fernando Abad, who originally was with the Houston organization. There you look at some pretty impressive numbers. This is 14th game. He is yet to give up an earned run. 12 innings, 14 strikeouts, only 6 hits. He's got a very strange motion, which adds to his deception. He's not overpowering, but he's been awfully good, and I'm kind of surprised that Oakland decided to part ways with the left-hander.
Two on, 2 out, and a ball low to Avi Garcia. By the way, yesterday's Sox Math prize winner has asked if he can have the watchdog off the prize shelf.
Absolutely not. Not a chance. They would raid our booth if not for that watchdog.
Well, what about the gnome? Can't he take a shift?
Well, no, he takes the left side of the shelf and the dog takes the right. No, you can't have that. It's a nice thought, though.
2-0 on Avi Garcia. 2 on, 2 out. Thank you for the clarification, though.
I've had that little scrappy fellow for about 20 years.
Strike, 2-1. Has he just taken up defense as a vocation?
No, he was guarding my apartment until
he
today.
was?
Yes.
So what's going on in there then?
I'll find out when I get home.
Total carnage. Plush dog. Not protecting. 2-1 from Abad to Garcia. 3-1 for Avi, who's 1 for 2 with a run scored, a walk, and a ground out.
He's swinging it very well, and this is a terrific pitch to hit. Yano Navarro in the on-deck circle.
Three and 1. Abad to Garcia. Nice pitch. 3-2.
Tantalizingly slow curveball, and he caught the inside corner. So this is a pretty big advantage because with the speed of Garcia, it takes the force out of the equation because the runners are going to be going.
Three and 2 from Fernando Abad. Time for Suzuki. Well, on the AL scoreboard today, the Tigers have lost and the Royals have lost.
Kansas City is 14-14. Today, Salazar outdueled Ventura, and Cleveland beat the Royals 7-1.
Abad gripping a 3-2. Laurie at first, Cabrera at second. Payoff pitch. Fouled away, too close to take.
Straight change at 68 miles an hour, and if you've got some confidence you're going to get it in the zone, it's a very good 3-2 pitch. He left it up, which is not advisable, but it was velocity rather than location that fooled Avi.
Insurance runs first and second. 3-run lead. 3-2 from Abad. Ball 4.
Good call by Todd Tishner as that fastball was off the plate outside. And very good patience by Avi as he took a very close pitch.
Last week or so of games for Avi Garcia. What's your evaluation?
Well, I think the last pitch said it all. When you're swinging the bat well, you're seeing the ball, and you can take pitches it's close. And so I think the same thing can be said of Laurie.
he will take his walks, so he's seeing the ball well, and he's got 2 base hits tonight. But I think Avi is ready to put some very big numbers up because his swing is pretty grooved.
Strike 1 to Deontay Navarro, who's nothing for 3. Second time he's come up with the bases loaded today. It's Cabrera, Laurie, and Garcia for the second time for him.
Decent speed on the base paths all the way around.
Testing the corner off the plates.
Seventh inning this year has been the charm. Sox have scored more in the 7th inning than any other inning all game long.
Called a strike. By the way, on that walk for Avi Garcia, that is just the 7th 2-walk game of his career that we're watching tonight.
I think it shows you that he's seeing everything. He's been on just about everything swing-wise, and he's in a very good groove these days.
1-2. Navarro right to Abad. He can't find it. It's right next to him. And sometimes it's right under your nose. It happens to all of us with our car keys. It's a baseball tonight.
But normally what you don't do with your car keys is look up in the air because the ball normally is not going to be there. So he knocks it down. This part of it's good. Hits off the heel of his glove, and then he looks up in the air. Where is it? I wonder. Well, don't wonder. It's behind you. And another big run, another run in the 7th, and a 4-run lead as Fernando Abad cannot locate the baseball.
It's a hit for Navarro. Would be some gravity issues if the ball was in the air for that long. Laurie to third, Garcia to second. Saladino takes a strike. 3 runs to 4 runs on the lead now.
I'll say all this with 2 outs, nobody on, 3 hits and a walk.
Once a homestand, we're saying, I've never seen that before in my life.
You haven't seen a pitcher turning circles on the mound trying to locate the baseball? I've seen catchers. I think catchers do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very rarely, if ever, pitchers.
1-1. Saladino up the middle. The lead swells. Laurie's home. Garcia's in. Double figures tonight.
RBIs number 4 and 5, and that was the Fernando Abad version of the old Ephus pitch. That was 62 miles an hour. I'm not sure how it stayed in the air, but Tyler stayed right with it. He kept his hands back, and it looked to me like Abad tipped it off. Because normally, at that speed, your hands are going to move forward. And it's okay for the leg to move forward, but when you see the hands going back and you're out there on the mound, you know that the guy's going to hit it hard. 2 more. 10-4.
To third, Plouffe. There is out number 3. But all with 2 outs, nobody on. Sox get 3 runs on 4 hits. It's 10-4, good buddies.
brought to you by Miller Lite. And as well as a whole lot of offense, there's been some spectacular defense. Adam Eaton, as he's done seemingly every night, taking one away from Nunez, who just tips his cap. Austin Jackson, with one step to spare, bangs into the wall and holds on. And add Tyler Saladino to that defense tonight. It's been brilliant. And Nate Jones comes into the ball game. It's been Latos for 5, Putnam, Duke, 1 apiece. And now Nate Jones comes on for the 13th time. He's 2-0. His ERA, .75. Some pretty good numbers for Nate. And Matt Latos, the pitcher of record, with a 6-run lead, bidding to go 5-0.
What a season for Matt Latos. By the way, watching that replay of the play Austin Jackson made, and then the situation in the dugout earlier, there's a lot of hugging for the 2016 White Sox. A lot of hugging.
They are an exuberant bunch, but I love the fact that they're into the game. They get very excited when anything happens, both offensively and defensively, and it's a team effort because everybody in that dugout is ready to give accolades to whoever did something really well.
How about Todd Frazier? Does that go into the category of really well?
That goes into the category of a spectacular play, and yet another base hit taken away from a Twins hitter. Todd Frazier down the line with the backhand, knows he has some time, gets it across in time, and Sano probably wondering how in the world did he make that play.
Todd Frazier, 5th among Major League third basemen since 2012 with 24 defensive runs saved. That compares you to the average player, and well done there.
You said earlier in the ball game that you obviously were not here last year to see every game, and how does this team differ from the one last year? All you have to do is look at the 4 defensive plays that we've seen. There's been many more defensive plays, but the 4 highlight reel defensive plays tonight will illustrate exactly the difference in these 2 teams last year to this.
On the ground, Frazier, lower level of difficulty, same result, 2 down in the 8th. 23,054 paid attendance tonight here at U.S. Cellular Field, and a very loud, vibrant crowd this evening.
And they've seen a defensive effort that you can put in a time capsule. Now, there's been a lot of offense as the Sox have belted out 13 hits with their 10 runs. But the spectacular aspect has been the defense and what it's done for this pitching staff tonight.
2 out, ball 1 to Park, who's 2 for 3. If you were putting together a 2016 White Sox time capsule, what else would you put in it so far?
More time.
No, time goes in the bottle.
Oh, okay. I would put in certainly the pitching staff top to bottom, the rotation and the bullpen, because it's been excellent all year long. You look at Chris Sales, almost unhittable. Matt Latos had a very good chance to start out 5-0. Chris 6-0. Jose Quintana finally getting some support offensively and defensively, and he's looking for his 5th win on Sunday. Starting rotation, the big 3 especially, been awfully good, and that one was way up and in.
Park got clipped, and here comes Molitor to take a look at his Korean designated hitter.
Boy, he was really fortunate to get out of the way of that before it really got him. Sales up and in. He got down in a hurry, but he's going to remember that one for a while.
You saw Robin's reaction behind him in the background. Everybody that's hit has been there.
It's tough. I mean, that's one of the aspects of the game that people don't realize. You factor in that hitting a baseball is the toughest thing you can do in sports, and then take the intimidation factor of a guy throwing 98 miles an hour and throwing it under your chin. It becomes even harder.
Toughest thing to do in sports, huh?
I believe it is. Hit a baseball, yes. A round ball, a round bat. You don't know what the ball is going to do. It can sink. It can rise a bit, although some people will tell you it can't. Certainly, it can move any direction, and you don't know what speed it's coming. You can guess the pitch and not guess the speed and still have as much difficulty. I don't think there's one other single thing in sports that's more difficult, because it just, golf, a stationary ball. Hockey, you have a stationary net.
Throw to second, nobody's there, and a stolen base for Park. I think that's a really interesting point you just made. You can guess the type of pitch and still be wrong on the speed and look just as bad.
The best pitchers will take a fastball and make it 4 different pitches, because they'll throw a 2-seam, a 4-seam fastball. They'll throw one with everything they have, and they'll take something off the other. So again, same pitch, but 4 different pitches.
Down and in, strike 3. Arcia goes down. Park stranded. Nate Jones with a nasty slider and a 10-4 lead.
We can auction you off, Chuck. I don't know if you'll fit on the prize shelf, but we can certainly.
Autographed bucket of popcorn. We know you enjoyed it out at Salt River Fields. That sounds great. New pitcher, Steve.
Trevor May in the ball game for the 15th time. His ERA 2.25, and he's been pretty good. With Glenn Perkins lost for an indeterminate amount of time, he was a very good closer of this team, and it really makes it difficult for the bullpen because everybody has to slot up, and now Kevin Jepson is their closer.
Jackson, big swing, 0-2. We'll see how much of that back end of the bullpen we see in this series. Sox have the 2 frontline guys in the rotation the next 2 days, Sale and Quintana. That's a fastball, strike 3 and 1 away. We remind you to follow White Sox baseball live with the MLB.com at Bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with Game Day. Live game video highlights, StatCast, news, and more. Download MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your smartphone and tablet. Beautiful day for baseball. Fireworks pending.
Been a gorgeous night.
And this was the first time all year that the temperature was up over 80 degrees when the game started. So Presley loosening up just in case. Probably loosening up for probably some action tomorrow or Sunday.
One down for Abreu, who takes a strike. Today is actually the anniversary of the first use of a tarp in the majors, 1906 at Exposition Park in Pittsburgh. First time they ever put a tarpaulin on the field. Uh-oh.
And that
Bad
absolutely
blood.
was, well, that absolutely was.
Here comes Bill Miller in from first base, and the benches are clearing. Here we go. Park got one up and in.
Well, what Jose wants to do is drop the bat. That's the first thing, because that's something that can get you suspended.
Daryl Boston over there with him. Abreu is not pleased. Frazier's in there. There's Greg Sparks, Scott Carroll on the outskirts.
A hitter absolutely knows when he's going to get hit. And although May looks away,
you see the reaction of the Sox dugout immediately, and now they're going to be separated. So Park got one up and in. In the top of this inning. He was hit by a pitch. Abreu gets plugged in the side. This is game 1 of a 3-game series.
it's also two teams that have 2 series each against one another, both home and away, remaining after this series. So we probably haven't seen the last of this.
The bullpens are being sent back to their respective areas.
And remember, you don't have to issue a warning if in the mind of the umpires. Now he's issuing a warning now, but if in the mind of an umpire he thinks that the pitcher has thrown at a hitter, he can eject him without any warnings being issued.
Reading Robin's lips, he said, "You heard him say it." So there was something said. And watch the reaction by May. That is not shock. And remember, Jose in all of this is not a heavy English speaker. So the discussion coming from the umpire, don't know exactly how it's working. And Robin Ventura has been thrown out of this ball game.
Well, I think Robin has a pretty good case to make, because if any of the umpires on the field don't believe that that was a purpose pitch by Trevor May, I would be surprised.
Robin Ventura is fighting for his guys right now. The central one being Jose Abreu, who got hit in the ribs the next half inning after Park got one up and in. You think there's a lot of evidence suggesting intent there?
I would think so, and of course you never can read into a pitcher's mind the intent, but for Nate Jones, in a 10-4 game, there would be no reason to buzz Park up and in like that. That one, I truly believe, got away. This one, however, didn't appear to get away. Again, you can't read intention. It's what it appeared to be.
Second ejection of the year for Robin Ventura. Frazier in the air with this one. Trevor Plouffe for out number 2. The one danger here, Steve, and correct me if I'm wrong, but to me the one danger is this. You're facing a team that's 8-20. Then with these warnings, you don't want a ball to fly out of Chris Sale's hand tomorrow or Quintana's hand the next day and have it be one of those errant ejections that really have no business being offered.
Well, it depends, and a good umpiring crew is not going to start tomorrow's game with warnings to both sides.
But I will tell you, the point you bring up is a good point, because Hall of Fame manager Earl Weaver hated when any of the pitchers on the Orioles hit the opposition, because what he said, and it holds true in this situation, he said, my team is going to go to the playoffs, and I have a 3 and 4 hitter, Eddie Murray and Kenny Singleton. If they take one off the elbow and they're lost to me for 3 or 4 months, that's going to stop me from getting to the playoffs. That other team probably is not going to get there, and so they don't mind sailing one up and in. So he hated the retaliatory fastball. It was up to the team to take care of it. You never heard it from the manager, and that's, in this situation, you got a team in first place by 4 games coming in and a team in last place. Last thing you want to do is get in a situation where everybody's throwing at everybody else, but you have to protect your team.
It's really a lose-lose for the White Sox, don't you think?
Yeah, but, you know, it's in a situation where I don't say that you go out there tonight and throw at anybody. I think that defeats the purpose of what you're trying to accomplish. But that one's one to file away, and we'll see what happens down the road.
3-2 on Cabrera. Essentially, the argument is the best bruise you can put on somebody is beating them on the scoreboard, right?
The object is always to win the game. But that being said, usually the players left to themselves will police themselves.
In the air, left field, long run, Arcia, no play. To third, and Abreu's in. Melky's got 4 hits tonight.
That one shows you what happens when you're swinging the bat well. He hits it off the end of the bat, finds a very soft place to land in front of Arcia, and the ball gets away as Jose showing you some pretty decent speed. He has every intention of going into third base, and he gets there.
So 2 on 2 out for Brett Lawrie. Inside, 1-0. One and one for Lawrie, who's got 2 hits his last 2 at bats. He scored a run. He's driven in a run. Again, we'll see how tomorrow plays out, but to clarify, umpires do not have to carry those warnings over.
No, they can. It's their discretion. They can start the game under a warning to both sides if they feel that it's got a chance of getting out of hand. I don't think at this point that the umpires should do that. So we'll have to see what tomorrow brings. And again, the object is to win the game. You can't do anything before the fact that doesn't allow you to win the game.
Take yourself out of a position of strength.
Look, let's say that for whatever reason, Chris Sale throws a couple pitches up and in and gets ejected from the game early in the ball game. That's not the best interest of the White Sox, and I don't think that's anything Chris would do.
1-2. Inside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. The only concern being if one does legitimately get away and it leads to one of those outliers. I mean, Chris Sale's usually very command heavy. One gets away and you end up losing a pitcher.
Yeah, I don't think the umpires would do that.
Fouled off.
I mean, I think you can pretty much tell, especially if you've been around the game for any length of time, you can tell what is a legitimate, this one got away, and what is a legitimate, this is in response to something that has been done previously.
Outside and low. 3-2. Javi Garcia, who's been on 3 times tonight, would be next. Three and 2. He got him. Strikeout for May, who's not making any friends here in Chicago. Jose Abreu hit by a pitch. Bench is cleared. Nothing more after that. 10-4 Sox.
Just recalled from the minor leagues. It's his first appearance of this season, and he's got to deal with the bottom part of the order for the Twins. 3 outs to get a 6-run lead.
3 games pitched with AAA Charlotte for Scott Carroll, and he will face Suzuki first in inning number 9. After a hit by pitch of Abreu. See if things settle down. Inside corner. Strike 1. Good news from Double-A tonight. Carson Fulmer picked up the win for Birmingham. 6 innings. 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts, 5 hits for Mr. Fulmer.
Nice performance.
Yeah. He beat the Montgomery Biscuits of the Double-A Southern League.
Nice nickname.
Yeah. Buttered him up in the first, and then.
Jeez. Well, it's a 6-run lead. So, by the way, fireworks tonight.
Yes. You excited?
Yeah, I'll tell you how far I go back with you. I remember when you could actually get that wire and extricate it out of wherever it's. There you go.
From the man who tangled himself up in his coat last night.
True. Yeah,
I'm not going to take it.
That's a problem with the extensions that we have on.
Your hair extensions or the cord?
I wish I had those. No, it's the cords up here in the booth. So we can have better mobility.
It's going to take a lot more than cords. 2 strikes. And down low, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Don't forget, tomorrow, 6:10 first pitch. We'll be over WGN. Irvin Santana and Chris Sale. And gates open early. Parking lots as well. 3 hours in advance. Gates 2 hours in advance. And 1:10 on Sunday with Jose Quintana on the hill for the Sox.
That young man you saw either has to get a smaller hat or a larger head, because right now he's kind of overmatched.
Two and 2 on Suzuki, who popped a bunt foul in the 6th. and he gets hit.
If I was setting up inside and that ball got him on the posterior. No action taken by Todd Tischer behind the plate or anybody else.
You like that, right?
I like the fact that the umpires didn't overreact to a situation that didn't look intentional.
Here's Rosario. To first base, Abreu. Double play.
An easy way to turn two. Jose right there, and no sense hustling to the bag because Suzuki was hung out to dry. For a base runner, when the ball is hit behind you, there's literally nothing you can do.
That's what we call throttling down. 2 out, nobody on. Santana, the batter. Outside.
That Latos is going to move to 5-0. And the bullpen was terrific tonight. Putnam, Duke, Jones, and now Scott Carroll.
1 out to get 2-0.
Here's our TravelWisconsin.com upcoming schedule. 2 more with the Twins, which rounds out the homestand. Then it's on to Texas, an off day, and the Yankees in New York, the struggling Yankees, who just put CC Sabathia on the disabled list.
After Alex Rodriguez a couple of days ago. 2-0. Is there, 2-1. White Sox are 1 out away from win number 20. And there she is. 20 wins on May the 6th. 10-4 the final score.
Just a terrific ball game. The defense was exceptional. Matt Latos picks up win number 5. The bullpen covered 12 outs spotlessly. And what a night it was for all concerned as the Sox take the first of the series, and tomorrow night, game 2 and a great matchup.
Chris Sale will be on the hill. Chris Sale cake out her bobblehead to the first 20,000 people tomorrow night. So, for our director Jim Angio, our producer Todd Benjaminson, our associate producer Keon Dolachahi, our tech manager Mark Harper, executive producer Jim Corno Jr. He's Steve Stone. I'm Jason Benetti. So long from U.S. Cellular Field. Subaru Postgame Live with Chuck and Bill is next. In-game scoring provided by Stats. You've been watching Chicago White Sox baseball on Comcast Sportsnet. Good night.